Hello everybody, it's Glass Half Dead here, and I want to bring to your attention a few Warhammer games because the Steam sale is currently on, and so until I think it's the 5th of January, almost all Warhammer games are between 50 and 75% off, which means you can get good games like Warhammer Space Marine for like a fiver, or you can get the entire Dawn of War series for like 10 quid, and that's 1, 2, 3, all the expansions, all the DLC. Or you can get the Warhammer Total War, again, both games plus DLC for peanuts. And I feel like, as I'm a big gamer, and I want to share some gems that you people that are maybe into 40k but not as into gaming, so you don't explore as widely on the game front as I do, and tell you about them. I'm not going to go over every single 40k game I've ever played, but I am going to go over the main ones that I think have the broadest appeal. So you know what, for example, some people might love the Warhammer 40k Armageddon 2D tactical series. I'm not going to talk about that because I haven't played it, it doesn't speak to me. But for example, Warhammer Space Marine, it's a third-person hack and slash released on consoles. There's going to be a lot more people that are into that than something else. But first, as you know, if you're a subscriber, I want to give you a big double hello. Now, how do you get a double hello? Well, that's pretty easy. All you have to do is subscribe right now, leave a comment and like, and in the next video, you will also get a double hello. And if you hang around till the end, you might just find an elusive triple hello. What are these hellos? Nobody knows. The hello economy is in shambles. What can I say? Brexit. Up first, let's talk about Space Marine. Now, Space Marine released, and it was generally very well praised. People thought it was a decent game for what it was at the time, and it seems to have only gotten better in time. You've got a lot of DLC. The only negative of it is that nobody plays the multiplayer anymore. It's still, sadly, like the best looking 40k game in that perspective. So if you want to play a Space Marine that just runs through and like wrecks some orcs, this is the way to do it. It's got a really good feel for like melee combat, and melee combat's kind of hard to do in a lot of games, but I think they actually do a really good job of it for Space Marines and how they would fight orcs. You get to run in, you get to hit a bunch of stuff, and if you hit it hard enough, you gain health, which means that yes, running in and killing stuff is the way to play the game, and that's really cool. But right now you can get everything, the base game plus all of the DLC, which is mainly cosmetics for multiplayer and therefore wasted, which is a real shame. But you can still find multiplayer games, it's just you'll have to specifically search for them outside of the game in Discords kind of thing. So if you want to play as a Chaos Alpha Legion or Noise Marine or whatever, you can do that all thanks to the DLC. But the base game is fine if you just want to pick that up. It's like £5 on Steam at the moment. This is probably the one that I would recommend most to people. I think it has the broadest appeal. Next up, let's talk about Dawn of War. I'm not going to say too much here because I think most of you know it. Dawn of War 1, we're talking about here, got lots of people into the hobby. It was a really good RTS, just as a game, ignoring 40k and its IP, and I would thoroughly recommend even now that people play it. Yes, it is a little bit dated, but because it was made by Relic, who really have only put out Dawn of War and Company of Heroes using the same systems that Dawn of War uses, it's still pretty fresh. It hasn't been memed to death like every other genre, for example, third-person cover shooters. Gears of War came out and just kicked that entire trend off, and now everybody is bored of third-person cover shooters. The way that Dawn of War 1 uses its mechanics are different to basically all other RTSs, so it's still good to go back to. It has been done better by Company of Heroes, I'm going to throw that out there, but it's still good. It still has the 40k IP. It's a really good example. I'm actually going to be doing like a full in-depth review of a lot of these games later, but Dawn of War 1 will be the first thing I do. But that's going to be a much bigger video, like more of a video essay than like a quick thing here. So anyway, Dawn of War 1, definitely pick that up. I'm not going to talk too much about them, but Dawn of War 2, all of its expansions. I'm even going to say Dawn of War 3, considering how cheap it is right now, purely for the army creator, like the army painter. Pick all of them up. Dawn of War, great games. Total War Warhammer. Chances are you already know about Total War Warhammer, because it's like, you already know if you want to play it or not. I would say play it. It's really good fun. Just from a, how, if you want to play a grand battle in the fantasy universe, Total War Warhammer is basically the only game. For those of you unaware, Total War Warhammer 1 and Total War Warhammer 2 are basically the same game. The way they've been done is that they are they are compatible. So you can play a big campaign game in Dawn of War 2 and still use a Total War Warhammer 2 and still use all of the factions from Total War Warhammer 1. So if you're going to pick up one, you probably want to pick up both, I'd say. And there's lots of DLC giving you more races, more heroes for those races, etc. I never got super deep into Total War Warhammer, but if you want to play grand strategy, that's the one to do it with for 40k. Vermintide 2, I've really enjoyed Vermintide. I'm not going to say too much here because I think we all know that Darktide, the 40k version of Vermintide, is coming out soon. If you want to know what Darktide is going to be like, play Vermintide 2, because as far as I can tell, it's almost going to be the same. They showed the trailer of Darktide, and they were hardly using their guns. It seems like it's still going to be very heavy melee, which I have issues with, but whatever. Honestly, I was hoping for more of a Left 4 Dead style shooter, with just waves and waves of zombies, but it seems they haven't done that. They're sticking to the Vermintide formula, which is very melee. Whatever. Check that out if you want to know how Darktide is going to play. It's guaranteed just going to be Vermintide 2, yeah. Oh, and sorry, it is a really good game. If I didn't say that, it's a really good game. Which brings us to Inquisitor Martyr. Now, Inquisitor Martyr is a bit of an odd one. Purely because it's... Okay, so people looking at it, you're going to see Diablo. You're going to think Diablo plus 40k is Inquisitor Martyr. That sounds good, doesn't it? Right? Like, that sounds like just a winner. An ARPG with a 40k theme. Except, it's not quite. If you go into it thinking this will be Diablo, but I get to play an Inquisitor in a 40k universe, you will be disappointed. They are not the same. If you want that, go and look at Chaos Bane, which is the fantasy version, which generally didn't get very good reviews. I don't really know why. I didn't play it for more than an hour. But with Inquisitor Martyr, you're going to be playing a slower game, and it's going to be mainly ranged. Why does that make things different? The fact, if you think back to Diablo, because obviously that's the ARPG everybody knows, you're mainly, the game is balanced around being within melee range. That's not the case in Inquisitor Martyr. You are supposed to be using your long-range weapons. Therefore, the game is balanced slightly differently, and it is slightly slower. Really hard to explain what that means, but just keep that in mind. I never really got hooked on Inquisitor Martyr. I would have liked to, but I didn't. So, let's talk very briefly about Gladius. Warhammer 40k Gladius. This is is it called a 3x or a 4x? It's a 4x 40k game. I actually played quite a bit of this when it released. I really liked the Tyranids. I thought they, it was fun. Gosh, this is a tough one. So the thing is, and it's very annoying, but every time I mention these games, I have to say, oh, if you like the theme, then this is a good game. But in general, every game here has been done better somewhere else, and I think that's never more the case than with Gladius. With Gladius, it looks okay, and it plays okay, and it's all just okay, it's all fine. But if you take, the best game in the market, or in that genre, and put it next to Gladius, you could just see all of the issues. You can see all of the flaws of Gladius, and you can see, oh, well, actually, the animations aren't great, the sounds aren't great, the combat itself, the balance isn't great, the world map movement isn't great, the bonuses, but they're all fine. If you just want to play 40k in a 4x, it's fine and it's good. because it's Warhammer. But if Gladius wasn't Warhammer, nobody would ever buy it. Because there are better games that do what it does better, with no downsides. The only benefit Gladius has is its 40k. And I played it, and I liked it, but I'm still saying... Okay, and the final game I'm going to mention here is going to be, I think, one that most people are aware of now, but just in case you're not, it's Mechanicus. So Mechanicus is basically XCOM, but 40k. But no, not just 40k, sorry, specifically the Adeptus Mechanicus. Those are the only ones you can play as. There are Necrons in there as well. You can't play as them. Some people love this game. They really enjoy it. It's kind of a cross between XCOM and Darkest Dungeon. Oh man, just saying that. Some people have already just left and have gone to buy it. Darkest Dungeon never did things for me. I don't really like that. But, like, Mechanicus is a decent game. One thing that's really interesting is, so, you know, in XCOM, if you're going to shoot something, you can have a 98% chance to hit and still miss. That's not how Mechanicus works. Mechanicus is binary. Oh, that is Mechanicus, binary. Yeah. You can either hit something or you can't. So when you click attack, you will hit, which is cool. Interestingly, everybody that reviews this game says the best thing about it, like everybody goes back to this, is the soundtrack. And the soundtrack is amazing. Like, it's a really good soundtrack. Should you buy the game just for the soundtrack? No, that would be ludicrous, obviously. But if you want to play an XCOM game, check this out. This is a decent version of it. It's not quite the same because it doesn't work on probabilities in exactly the same way, but which is a little bit of the hook of XCOM. But it does a decent job. You should check it out. If you like Adeptus Mechanicus, the faction, this is a must-buy. This is really good. They've done a great job with... Again, I have to say, all of the sound. The sound is so good. The gameplay, actually, I didn't stick to it. I played like a little bit and was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But, yeah. But, I mean, I have Adeptus Mechanicus right here, so I'm not entirely sure why I'm not raving about it. Like, the gameplay, and I'm just saying, oh, yeah, the music's good. But, like, yeah. You know, if you like AdMech, buy it. If you like XCOM, buy it. There you go. Okay, everybody, that's the end of my little game roundup. As I said, I really actually want to do, like, I've started writing the script for my first, like, video essay on Warhammer games. I'm starting with Dawn of War 1, like, not even Winter Assault, just Dawn of War 1. And I'm going to kind of do a deep dive on RTS and 40k and how they kind of interact, and is Dawn of War 1 still worth playing in... 2021 it's going to be now, because I'm taking ages to write this, sadly. Had to finish the game first and record it all. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. What are your favourite games? Like, what are your favourite Warhammer 40k games? Personally, I think Blood Bowl's pretty good as well. I'm really excited for the next Blood Bowl. I'm really excited for Dark Tide. I'm just really excited. Oh, wow. Christmas, yeah. Anyway, this has been Glass Half Dead, and if you've made it to the end, that means... you get a triple hello. This has been Glass Half Dead. Hope you've had a good day. Hope you continue to have a good day. Goodbye.